But there were no elephants in general in the show that we watched this time around. I don't think.
No.
Nope, no elephants.
Random Zeppelin. That was unexpected, but no elephants.
That was a dirigible, good sir.
It was a dirigible. You are correct.
They said so in the movie.
It was filled with helium as well, so they were smart.
What? It's smarter than someone putting argon in their dirigible?
Is that a thing that happened? Is argon even lighter than air? I'm pretty sure argon would be very heavy.
Argon is heavier.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have floated away. That would have helped.
Common gases that are lighter than air are hydrogen, helium, neon, nitrogen, ammonia, methane, and carbon monoxide.
Let's fart this balloon into the air.
Yeah, argon's just over a little bit.
Hydrogen, that's what I was looking for. It is smarter than filling it with hydrogen.
Anyway, I guess we should start. Hey, I'm Joe.
I'm Ken.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dan.
And we're the Rewinders, rewinding movies to see if they hold up. I think I truncated that, but we'll keep going.
Steady forth.
This week, we had to get our Amazon packages down the huge stairwell and to the lady pushing a pram in order to watch the movie KiKi's Delivery Service from 1989.
My birth
A
year.
year after
You're
mine.
10 years younger than me.
I mean, I was alive at the time.
See, when did it KiKi's actually come out?
1989. He just said that.
No, like
Come on.
Yeah,
when,
Dan.
When in '89? December 20th of 1990. Hang on, is that the American release or is that the Japanese release?
That's probably the American
That's the American release.
Sorry, I listed the original
you did
release.
You did the right one.
So, does anyone have a history with this movie?
I've watched it a bunch,
Yeah.
but it's a Ghibli film, and I happen to hold these in a kind of a higher esteem.
So, is that the correct pronunciation?
Ghibli?
Ghibli?
I think so.
According to the internet, it is Ghibli.
Okay, just making sure.
So yeah, I went on a Ghibli kick and watched a bunch. My first Ghibli movie was Nausicaa, which I still love to death. And then Princess Mononoke immediately after that. Watched those back in like high school.
It might be Ghibli.
I don't know. Everything I'm seeing says Ghibli.
Giblee is how to pronounce it.
Well, unless you're talking about like gibbing somebody, then
Ghibli.
is this a gif?
It does feel, but
here?
you know,
I think the G is silent. I think it's Hibli.
Hibli. There we go.
Like gnome.
Yeah, my first interaction with this movie specifically is like, oh, that's another one I haven't seen yet. Dan and I were working at a place, and we were gifted copies of the Blu-ray, and I was so excited to watch it. So my history with this movie has been, it's very good. I love it. I've never been able to watch it, though, and enjoy it, because the audio has been destroyed ever since Disney got their hands on it back in, 2010 or somewhere around there, and ruined it?
I would disagree about the 2010. I think the audio was fine till they released the Blu-ray, and the Blu-ray is what ruined it.
When was that? I'm trying to figure out when that got... No, it was much earlier than that.
It was just before I left.
No, it was... I'm looking it up right now.
That's when the Blu-ray release was. I just looked it up.
What year?
2020.
It wasn't 2020. I'm looking it up. You're a liar. You're a big, stinky liar. That's what you are.
And while you guys are big stinky lying, you guys lied to me about how bad the quality was, because I watched this movie for the first time at the end of last year, because I finally got past the fact that it probably doesn't sound like shit anymore, so I decided to watch it, and it sounds great. I don't know what you guys are talking about. You guys ruined my chance to watch this 2 years earlier.
Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. and unfortunately, I walked into it. I watched it on Max, HBO Max, and I was hoping that it would be a different audio than the Blu-ray, but I guess it's a continuation. It's still an issue. So whenever a character, it doesn't have to be Kiki, but whenever a character gets loud in the movie, where they're shouting or just even excitable, it sounds like they're talking through a damn fan. The audio is distorted where it's like they're shouting through a fan blades. And it's very widely known. It's a huge issue. And it's supposedly, somebody broke it down and said Disney lost the masters that they had from 1998. And for whatever reason, the music is fine, but the English audio track, for whatever reason, they don't have the master audio from 1998 anymore. And something about how they did a artificial blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I can't find exact answers on it, but they really, really screwed the pooch on the transfer. And ever since they did that, that's the version that we're stuck with.
I think they did something with the stream that they have on Disney Plus.
Is it on Disney Plus? I looked for it on Disney Plus and didn't see it.
I don't remember what I watched.
It's on Max.
Is it on Max? Well,
Yeah, it's on Max.
the one on Max, they have KiKi's voice still does that, and Tombo does once, but the rest of the audio is pretty clean, and they have all of the background ambient noise. Why did I say ambient?
I watched it.
Ambient
it
noise.
on Max, and it was constant. Every time anybody got even a little excited, it sounded like they were shouting through a fan.
Which is basically the whole movie. It's anime, so everyone's always yelling. That's not true.
No.
That's a stereotype.
It looks like when the audio error was first noticed, when it first started, was 2010. So it's 2010 forward.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
Now, the weird thing is supposedly there's people who vacationed over in Europe and watched it in Europe on streaming platforms and said that it sounded perfectly fine. So it does just feel like it's something that we're stuck with. I'd have to get some... I'd have to get like
English
a...
dub.
Yeah, I'd have to get like a... I don't know what they're called, but a release from overseas on Blu-ray or something along those lines just to kind of test it.
I
But
believe we call those pirated copies.
well, I mean, the problem is they've re-released the Blu-ray and everything too, and they still haven't fixed the damn issue. So it's one of those things where it mars my enjoyment of the movie, and I have not been able to thoroughly enjoy the movie because like I said, once you notice it, you can't unnotice it, and it's every time a character raises their voice.
I allowed what you guys said about the movie to lapse long enough where I forgot what the audio issues were. And so I wasn't listening for specifically what the audio issues. So it sounded great to me.
And that's just it. The weird thing is everything else in the movie's fine. Music, sound effects, all that's fine. It's just when the main characters in the English dub start to shout.
And they cut out all on the Blu-ray. They cut out a bunch of the background ambient noise.
And now you make me want to go back and watch the Japanese audio version.
Yeah, the version I watched, I thought that the background ambient sound was either low or missing.
Yeah, it looks like the original Blu-ray release date was 2014. Then they re-released it sometime around
2020. Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah.
That
It's
makes
just
sense.
insane to me that they just refuse to go back and fix that. I don't know if it's money or licensing issues. I don't know.
They would have to like re-record all the lines, and Kirsten Dunst.
You can't tell me that there's not a copy out there floating around somewhere.
Well, I say that, and apparently somebody found copies of the original reboot.
So if you guys have a VHS copy, I just ran into a VCR. We can see.
Ooh, oodle-lolly.
I don't know if the VCR works.
My DVD copy was good.
The DVD copies should be fine. It's the Blu-ray releases that
Which, of course,
never
that's
had
what they're
luck
using
with.
for the streaming.
I don't know. The stream that I watched they had all the ambient noise that I remember missing.
That might be the case, but it's still the fan sound.
She's still, yeah, specifically with Kiki.
That's just her voice. It gets a little trill sometimes.
That's the sound of magic talking through a fan.
We're out of order, aren't we? We're in the things you might not care for part of the show. Wait, did everyone say what they
I don't know.
history?
We'll wrangle back
think
up.
you
This is
did?
my history. My history's marred by the inability to watch this movie enjoyably because the bastards who released it. That's my problem.
For me, I didn't watch Ghibli movies until I was in, I'm going to say I was either 19 or 20. I don't remember how old I was, but I went to see Princess Mononoke in the
That would have
theater.
been awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was really nice, especially because the parents bringing their children in did not expect to see arms and heads go flying during
It was rated R. It's rated R.
for like the first 5 minutes. Yeah, and stupid parents still
Oh
brought
my
their kids.
god.
Well, it's a cartoon. It's fine.
And lychee, gooey wildlife, all
Yeah.
kinds of good stuff.
Very thick themes that you really have to sit in and soak up. Great stuff for little kids. But that was like where I launched from. And then I went back in the catalog and KiKi's came up because I saw things like a pig flying an airplane. And I was like,
Porco
no.
Rosso.
Still haven't seen Porco Rosso.
It's so good.
I have not seen that either.
On my first go around of Ghibli films after seeing Princess Mononoke in the theater was Castle in the Sky, which wasn't a great second step into the foray. But then after that was Nausicaa,
Oh, so good.
which great again.
Aside from the fact that
Love
it's
Nausicaa.
like terribly
And then-
long.
Yeah, but you know, if you can sit through it, it's really a good film.
Mm-hmm.
And then KiKi's came after that, and I out of the bunch, I may obviously have not watched Castle in the Sky. I don't think all the way through a second time, and that could be my own loss. I don't know. I can go back to it, but KiKi's kind of just nestled in there as kind of like a cozy little film that if I ever wanted to see some sort of
Wholesome.
Euro with a Japanese twist to it kind of film,
Howl's Moving
I
Castle.
could always watch this.
Howl's is its own thing.
Yeah, Hell's his own
It's
thing.
French.
Yeah,
Hell's
Hell's.
is my favorite movie out of all of them now that I've seen a majority. I would say Princess Mononoke is like a direct second under Hell's for me, but Hell's is just like everything I love. There's still a lot I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Though. Like I haven't seen
Spirited
Castle in the
Away is
Sky,
mine.
Cat Returns, any of that stuff. Porco Rosso even.
My history went from Spirited Away to Howl's to Mononoke. Very strong start.
Very strong.
That's like all of the top tier movies right there.
I think
They're so good.
I went Nausicaa, Princess Mononoke, then Spirited Away.
I did Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Nausicaa.
I'll say skip Marnie's.
Yeah, that's one you could skip. Same with Tales of the Earthsea.
I've heard so many negative things about that movie. And, you know, of course, I've heard the story about Miyazaki being asked what he thought.
But the story is just so hard to follow.
And that's just it. Like I've heard the horror stories. I've heard Miyazaki hating it and basically saying
My son is a failure.
just saying he's not a man yet. And
Yikes.
my friends even like back out of high school said, it's boring. And everybody online says it's boring. So after this movie finished, I saw it in Max. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. And I did fall asleep. I was maybe a half hour into the movie.
I gave it a shot and fell asleep as well. I guess the other one I'd recommend is Variety. I really like that one.
Oh, yeah,
already,
yeah. I
yeah.
love that movie.
Yeah,
That movie's
that's
fantastic.
good.
Ghibli-ized version of the Barrio.
Ponyo's a lot
is
of fun.
Ponyo's really fun. I love Totoro. Totoro's just too short for me.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
Totoro's a movie for
Totoro's
children.
comfy
Like,
It's supposed to be a
blanket.
kid's movie,
Yeah.
yeah. Pompoko's good too. Until he gets inflating genitalia.
that's just because you don't know what Tanuki are, and that's fine.
I know. It's just, I love it. I thought it was
Just
hysterical.
because it's in nature doesn't make it any less alarming.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The Wind Also Rises is good,
I have not seen Wind Rises, no.
The Wind Rises is
and I'm looking forward to when I can watch the Boy.
Yeah, I
and the
want to
Yep,
see
I
that.
have to see that.
I missed. I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to see it. It was in theaters, and I regret
I
it.
chose to see Godzilla a million times before it left. Let's see. So Cat Returns I haven't seen. Whisper of the Heart I saw. I did not enjoy it because
It's
is that the movie?
sad.
Is that also the movie where she like
She
sings
just rips
John
off,
Denver? Yeah,
John Denver's
she rips off
song.
John Denver.
Just the one.
Yeah.
Just the one song.
But the movie makes it feel like the way I took it or perceived it at least is the movie made it feel like she invented that song and everybody's like, wow, and it's like that's John Denver. It's just so hard for me to disconnect.
That's exactly the same feel I got from that, and it was just
It's a very pretty movie. I love the movie. It's just that annoyed me so much I can't go back and watch it again. Maybe I'm just like looking at it the wrong way, but I don't know.
right. It took a very strong. All right, let's get over the fact that this song actually exists already. Get back into this universe. It took me so far out of the movie that it took me a while to get back into that movie. But I did finish it, and I did mostly enjoy the rest of the movie as much as I could. But
Yeah.
it really takes you out of the movie when she starts stealing other people's music things. She's like the AI of Ghibli musicians. Sorry, I don't need to go to political. We could just do Weird Al, except for she didn't do some parody. She just did
She just ripped it off.
a worser version.
Yeah. All right, I found an actual listing of all the movies and who directed them. So if we're specifically going for Miyazaki, then it's Castle in the Sky, Totoro, Porco Rosso, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo, The Wind Rises, and The Boy and the Heron. Everything else is
He
directed by other
didn't
people.
do Grave of the Fireflies.
Grave of the Fireflies is Isao
Takahata.
Takahata?
Oh, I thought he did.
Yep.
I thought he did too, but I guess not.
That was the same year as Totoro.
Yeah, which Miyazaki did Castle in the Sky and Totoro at the same time. What a beast. Actually, no, he did those within 2 years, but still.
That's a lot
That's
of-
That's basically at the
Yeah.
same time.
yeah, and then a year later was KiKi's. So he did Castle in '86, he did Totoro in '88, and KiKi's in '89. He was just on a fire streak those years.
Don't want to be an animator in Japan.
And Porco Rosso in 92. I mean,
'92, yeah. And then he took a little time off, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's back with Princess Mononoke in '97.
it tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's led a full animating life. Like then, 3 years later, Spirited Away. 3 more years later, Howl's Moving Castle. Like he just
Yeah, he's just pumping them out. And he took his time.
and somehow they are all, as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen a few of them, but all the ones I've seen are incredible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I haven't seen The Wind Rises and I haven't seen Porco Rosso, but I've seen everything else of his from the looks of it, or Boy and the Heron too. But yeah, everything else I've loved. So I guess I need to finish my streak here and finish watching his movies.
So, Joe, can
And if you haven't seen,
I was just going to ask if you could tell us what this movie was about.
absolutely. If you haven't seen KiKi's Delivery Service, the film is basically about a young girl who turns 13, I believe it is. She kicks herself out of the house to go work. So there are no child labor laws in this version of Europe. And she takes her broom and says, nah, I'm not going to broom it anywhere. I'm going to hobo it to my final location, and instead takes a train to this beautiful port town where she sets up being a delivery girl for a pastry shop, a bread shop.
Bakery?
Yeah. And during that time, she gets harassed by a young man who wants her attention but doesn't know how to politely ask for it.
He's also 13 years old.
Yeah, until she's browbeat into potentially liking him back and then needing a speed type situation where death is on the line to meld that relationship together for them. And so she loses her spirit halfway through the film because she doesn't know why she, is doing what she's doing. She lost the love of flying on her broom, and then Kiki gets her groove back. That's basically it.
Yeah. I was watching the movie. I was like, what? How do you even do the plot for this
There
movie?
is a lot of disbelief that you have to suspend for this movie.
Yeah.
And it starts off with her being a witch. That's sign. Okay, done.
That's the easy
Disbelief
one.
out the window. And then they're like, oh, you're 13, get out of the house.
But then they start doing things like they ask her for ID. And it's like, well, okay, if they're asking for ID, there's some sort of laws here that are being alluded to. And they ask, where are your parents? Okay, she doesn't have ID. Her parents aren't here. They're going to be like, oh, we need to take her in because this is a child that's run away from home or lost.
That's not even the case. Look, she shows up and everybody knows what witches do. Everyone knows witch law. Everyone knows that witches leave at their 13th birthday for a year to go learn magic. I don't know how they're supposed to do that when they go and live in a city without any other witches. I don't know how they're supposed to improve their craft when they don't have anyone guiding them on how to do that.
Self-reliance.
However, everywhere seems to at least have an understanding that witches show up, they hang out in your city for possibly the rest of their life, and they'll just be your local witch. So they should understand, hey, this witch showed up. She is a young child because that's how the witches show up. This is what happens. They should have something in plan for like, hey, just go talk to the mayor. We have our witch objective here. Go talk to the mayor. They'll take care of you. Or, get out of our city. But they're all just so confused. They try to treat her like a regular human being, but not like a regular human being. So like you're saying, they're asking a child for an ID. This was a different time though. And it was France. I assume it was France.
I don't know because
It looked very
Moroccan. Monaco,
which is basically
there's
France.
Mediterranean
yeah.
France,
but all of the
it could be Italy, I suppose.
all of the signage that wasn't in Japanese looked like it was German.
Huh.
Well, they definitely flew over a version of what's that windmill place in Paris? The Moulin Rouge.
Oh yeah,
Right.
So they at least passed over this make-believe France.
someplace in Europe on an ocean, probably Mediterranean. Assumedly
Or at least this universe's version of Mediterranean tiered city. You know what I like about this movie?
What?
Jeff.
What?
Jeff. Jeff is a very good boy.
Death?
Jeff. Jeff.
Oh,
or
Jeff.
Geof. I don't know. I didn't have my subtitles on. The very good puppy who watches over the kitty.
Yeah, it's a nice dog. The art styling of Jeff is used as a basis for I think the turnip guy in Spirited Away.
Okay.
The whole motif that he's got going on comes
Wait.
back in another movie.
The turnip guy.
I could be wrong.
I know Turnip
which
Head
character
in
it is.
Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah, no. There's I believe that there's a big gentleman who wears a ramen bowl on his head, and my brain is telling me he has turnips hanging off of his face, like jowls, like the dog has. I could be wrong. I may be having some fever dreams that I'm just inserting into.
Okay. Yes, I know
movie,
who you're talking
but-
about because I just Googled it. I wouldn't have said turnip, but the internet says he's turnip guy. Radish spirit.
Yeah, and then the old lady who gets all giddy about disasters happening in town.
Yeah, she was way too excited about that.
Her style comes back again as the witch in Spirited Away. So you get to see minor characters that are, it's the style. So I like that. I like seeing that, okay, now it's a turn on that style again, and now it's a main character, not a side character and stuff like that. I really like that.
Yeah. There's a lot of really neat things about this. Talking cat, always great. I really like that when you get the idea that the cat can talk because it's linked to her when she gets sick, and all of a sudden the cat just meows. It can't talk because she doesn't have the magical power to supply the ability for Gigi to talk. And the movie doesn't beat you over the head with that fact. It just has that rule set in stone, and you got to figure it out yourself. It's really, it's a really nice discovery that you get to go on to the movie with, because then later when she loses her magic, one of the triggers is the cat's not talking back to her. Or not triggers, one of the indicating events.
There's a sadder explanation for that actually came from Ghibli.
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna go away because I can't cry today.
It's not terribly
it's
sad.
that sad.
It's not terribly sad. It's just she grew up. So, she was talking to the cat, and the cat was basically her way of talking to herself. She grew up and doesn't need to talk to the cat anymore, essentially, and that's why she
Oh,
can't.
interesting.
Yeah.
That is something I did notice after I was making that observation, was once the cat stops talking in the movie, the cat's just gone.
Now that's sad.
got horny.
It did. All
It
kinds of
got
other
horny.
cats
It went
in
with
the
the white
town.
cat. It does not come back
Yeah.
for the rest of the movie, which is wild.
Well, I mean, at least they cut out all the and just skipped over that part.
Yeah, that was crazy. For a second there, Joe, just for a split second, I heard him. I heard him through you. I heard Phil Hartman come through your gown.
Aw, channeling.
Yep.
A thing that I like in this film that is, I'll say it's very minor to everything overall, except for one thing, immersion. And that's because Kiki was going to run frantically somewhere, and she slips and slides and keeps going. Now, the slip is inconsequential. She still gets to where she's going. She doesn't get caught or anything like that. It's just a little bit of spice of life in the middle there that was unnecessary, but was still animated because it adds just this little bit of tasty reality going on.
Yeah, I was going to say, I really do like the fact that the animation isn't lazy. And things like that are the indicators, they really put a lot of heart and soul into it. They have the minor adjustments while she's on the broom, all sorts of different things that they didn't need to animate, but they put in the animation to make it feel more alive, to make it feel more living. And even though it's obviously an animated, cartoon, you still get the feeling like this could be an alive thing. It still feels living.
Oh, that's
I love that
which is
attention.
amazing.
That's the
I love that
way
attention to
most
detail.
Ghibli movies are.
But I still love it about this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, my favorite little detail is just the brooms themselves. So right when she gets up the first first act where she's flying with the radio around her broom handle, and then she meets the other witch with a lantern on her broom handle. It really gives that sense that witches really customize their brooms, and that there's just a whole bunch of people flying around, all different styles, all different looks, and it really makes it feel like a lived-in world, and I love it. I love that. I love that little attention to detail of having a lantern on one, a radio on another. Who knows how other witches decorate their brooms or fly around? I love that.
Truck nuts.
Or who knows what your specialty as a
Broom?
witch can
Did you
be.
just
I
say
have no idea what
broom
her
nuts?
specialty is.
Like
Broom nuts.
Well, I said
I was
truck
gonna
nuts.
truck,
but yeah,
truck
yeah,
nuts
broom
on a
nuts.
broom? No.
God damn it, that exists somewhere and I hate it.
I hate everything right now. Everything about this.
Now it's in there. I do like Phil Hartman being the cat, even though I don't exactly like his voice he's using.
I kind of wish they would have given Gigi a little more screen time, because like you get speaking Gigi for a little under half of the movie, and then he disappears.
I love Phil Hartman, and I love everything Phil Hartman's in, but I do kind of feel like he overdid it as Gigi. But overall, I loved him as Gigi, so it's not a detractor for me. But yeah, I'm like 50-50 on his performance as Gigi. Really, when it comes down to the meowing, I think.
What are some things that maybe didn't exactly go well for you in this film, outside of the problem with the audio?
The transport of the damn propeller. That whole scene just pissed me off. You put yourself in that situation, kid. Ride a bike all stupidly down the road as fast as you can, swerving in and out of traffic. It was unnecessary.
Definitely seems tricky. He's lucky he has a downhill approach to get the airplane going. However, going back uphill, trying to take that back home, he's definitely pushing it if it would have survived the journey.
Yeah.
Honestly, I do like that. I like the whimsical stuff. I'm still on the liking stuff.
I like that they took the time to give the audio of Tombo and Kiki talking as they're speaking being picked up through the propeller blades and distorting their audio.
Yes. That was cool. That was intentional.
That was
sounds
intentional,
good.
yes.
Yeah, because they're yelling, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was just supposed to be that way because they're yelling. Maybe it was a lost in translation thing. No, fan blades only during this scene. Not only when they're yelling. Come on. But like, yeah, there's so many like the plane with the 4 engines, but the engines are stacked on top of each other. The 2 on each side. Freaking amazing. Dirigible was kind of boring. I don't know why, but once the dirigible showed up, I was like, eh.
So I'm gonna be honest here. I never finished this movie. It was so comforting that I fell asleep every time I watched it.
So
I always get like 3/4 of the way through.
You never caught the end credits scene?
Nope, I never got to the end. So when it got to the dirigible this time around, I'm like, oh, okay. So that's the stakes.
Right.
It's hanging from a rope.
And like, you have to have the movie going somewhere. You have to have a, well, you don't have to,
Terminus?
but it seems like at that point near the end of the movie, they're like, oh crap, we didn't do any plot. What do we do now?
We
loses powers and then gets powers back right away to save Tombo.
We spent too much
and-
time on
okay.
exposition.
And I don't understand. This is where I get so frustrated because it's like half of me is like, that part doesn't make sense, and then the other half is like, it's an animated movie about a witch. I just can't bring the two together.
KiKi's is really hard to be critical of.
It's the blimp. Like, could it realistically ever even have floated the way that it floated up and down like that? And like the fact that the captain's shouting like release the helium from the rear, and it never happens. It just floats up like a bobbing bottle in water somehow, being carried away by the wind. It's just physics. But it's Kiki, and there's witches on brooms. I can't put the two together. I can't put the two together. I love it. I still love it.
There's also a scene where there's a bunch of bottles of grape soda behind Kiki as she's working. And, you know, they're trying to do the right thing to show that it's a rounded bottle. But in doing that, every bottle just says rape.
Oh no.
Oh, I don't think I've ever noticed that. Oh boy.
There's a wall of bottles behind Kiki that just say rape, rape, rape,
No,
rape,
it's
rape,
rap.
rape,
It's in
rape,
rapeseed
rape.
oil.
I'm down with that. I mean, sure, there's a picture to disprove things. Damn you, Ken. But you release it from the mooring. Is it going to float away like that?
I don't know. Apparently it did happen once at least.
I guess I just don't know anything about blimps.
Definitely not much because blimps are super expensive to run. When you just gas off the helium from the blimp, it's just gone. Like helium, I don't know if you know this, helium is really light, and so as it escapes the ground and goes into the atmosphere, it just keeps going and it's just fucking gone. So helium is like a really limited resource.
Oh, it is, and it's used in a lot of hospital stuff, so the fact that people keep using it for balloons is kind of
party balloons aren't necessarily the big detractor. It is. It's not using a huge amount of. It's not like significant amount of it, especially since it's become less popular to do party balloons. Although still a big thing. It's not like they're releasing 2 million balloons in New York or whatever that was.
Yeah.
Wild times. We live in wild earth with wild people who just like to do waste. So how is Kiki supposed to learn how to do any witchy things here? Like,
That's a
She's a
question
witch.
that I usually have asked because like it sounds like her mom didn't have enough time to like help like actually train her in stuff.
it almost sounds more like to me that she didn't, not that she didn't have enough time, it's that she didn't want to take the time because she didn't want to address the fact that Kiki was going to leave, even though like Kiki did leave a month early. Even cutting her dad's
Camping trip.
her and her dad's camping trip
Yeah.
short or
Yeah.
at all, which actually made me very sad for the pops.
Yeah.
And she stole his radio too.
And she stole his radio.
So let me posit that maybe her mom just didn't want her to do it because at the beginning of the movie, the mom talks about how when she left her home at 13 and went out into the world, that basically it sounds like she met her husband at 13 and started a relationship with him almost right away. And they're still together and they're at an undefined age. Maybe she's out there thinking like, God, if I let Kiki go out now, she's going to meet the first boy she bumps into and just going to latch onto that poor boy. And she's going to think this is what it's all about. And it's like, listen, you're 13. Wait till you're at least 30. Then you gotta have a little bit of some idea who you really are. Right now, you're just latching onto this kid. He's an idiot. He doesn't treat you right. And his name is Tombo.
Yeah.
Who names their kid Tombo?
Yeah.
Come on.
And he won't invite you over to talk to his friends after you're having a real fun date day.
I have opinions about Tombo.
Yeah.
Tombo shows up. Hey, Kiki, we're going to do this. Tough. See me at 6. Great, Tombo. I don't care for Tombo.
I don't care for
Not a
Tom.
lot of
care for
a lot of
Tombo.
people don't care for Tombo. So you're not alone.
I liked her friend, though, the bird lady.
Yeah, Bird Lady was nice.
I don't remember her name, if she even had a name.
I kind of saw her like at a point of like she's a window into the future for Kiki
Ooh.
to kind of look at and use as an emulation point of who she wants to be, because she's looking at her as a, wow, you're really great at art. How did you know you were going to do art all the time? And that introduces the whole, oh, I'm not always great at art, but you got to push through it if you want to do what you love all the time for like work. So she's used as an impotence to kind of push Kiki, as you said before, into becoming an adult, a coming of age. And that's kind of like, to me, it was maybe that's kind of meant to be future Kiki in a way, but not exactly.
Huh.
I don't know.
It's definitely a sense
gonna-
of, like, centering. Like, an odd sense of centering, because it takes her out of the city and everything that she had established there with her delivery service. It takes her out of that and just allows her to get back in touch with, like, is this what you want? Is this where you're going with your life? Take some time in nature and enjoy yourself. You don't have to be perfect all the time. And it's a really nice change of pace for the movie. For my, it's, to me, it's kind of like that underlying, don't take yourself so seriously all the time, which is important as well.
And then I'll suggest that the show Cinema Therapy, their episode about KiKi's delivery service and basically calling it Rekindling Passion and Overcoming Failure. Very good analysis of them looking at this as, losing the passion for what you do and what you got to do to regain it and stuff like that. I'd recommend if, you like KiKi's delivery service and you just kind of want to sift through it from not just a filmmaker's point of view, but also a therapist's point of view.
Yeah, when I started
good.
looking at some of the other articles about KiKi's, I saw that episode from them, and it's very good. Like it's interesting. I've never thought to use KiKi's as a source for therapy before.
I don't know if they're always talking about using like the movies as sources for therapy, but
there's an
analysis of human nature and stuff like that.
The bird lady's name is Ursula.
Oh, nice.
Okay, that's right.
I had to look. I had to do some digging to find it.
Like, I'm on a list of the voice cast on Wikipedia for the movie because I don't know any other better places to look for casts for TV shows or movies. And Ursula's not even on here, unless it's spelled silly. Oh, there it is, way up here. Freaking fourth one down. Didn't expect her to be so high. But I guess, I don't know. Oh, no, his husband is on there. Took me a while to figure out the relationship of the dude in the bread shop to the bread shop.
Owner, Osano. Yeah.
Turns out they're married.
Yep, that's her husband.
Makes sense. Family business.
It's kind of... It's not, like, directly spelled out that that's Osano's husband. It always felt, when I first started watching it, it felt like it was like another worker at the bakery.
Yeah.
Until he gets excited about her being pregnant and gonna have a baby.
Right.
He goes nuts for that.
She uses an inclusive language at that point to include him in on the fact that they are having a baby. And that's where I was like, okay, that's definitely, okay.
Are you suggesting he couldn't be just another worker there and they're having a baby? That he has to be her husband in order for them to have a baby? Is that what you're suggesting, Ken?
I am suggesting that he was involved in the process somehow. He's too standoffish for her to be including him in the raising of the baby, unless he's actually involved in the process of, like he doesn't say, and I don't think he says anything in the movie, and usually he's got his nose up the entire time, like, very proud, walking around, making his bread, spinning his trays. Very good at what he does. However, doesn't say a lot. The most you get from him is when he does a smirk at Gigi. So, yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if it's a negative or a positive, but the movie has no time period. So that, like, in one way, helps pull it out of reality. And in another way, it doesn't allow you to know exactly when it is in time because it has a mishmash of technology and things that wouldn't exactly
line up,
exist in the way that it does.
I, for some reason, and I don't know if I'm combining other Ghibli movies, but thought that with KiKi's there was like a Blitzkrieg-esque scene. And I must have been like a part of like plot that Kiki would have to deal with like an oncoming war.
I think you're thinking about Owls.
I'm thinking,
there's
yeah,
the whole
firebombing scene in Owls. Yeah. Now that I've sat down and watched this again.
But I mean, like firebomb, blitzkrieg. You're using those words. What looks like a Zeppelin puts you in the mind of Germans, and like that, it all gives you like Nazi Germany vibes. And so I can see where you might conflate the two together if you distance yourself a little bit.
So like it could totally be 1930s, 1950s, early 1940s ish, but like they don't specifically call it out, so you can't really pinpoint when this is supposed to be set. Which as I was just agreeing with Joe, that pulls this out of the point of where you'd be able to tell.
It feels like it kind of gives it sort of like a fantasy element while remaining grounded. Anyway, so in the end, is this a film that you would recommend for people to watch?
100%. Kids, adults, doesn't matter.
This is it's a wholesome, almost 2 hours. I don't even know how long this movie is. 103 minutes.
It felt like 2 hours.
Yeah.
It was close to 2 hours.
Close to 2 hours. It's something that, like, you're not really wasting your time watching it. Like, it's a good story to view. Are there other movies that I would suggest over this from Studio Ghibli? Oh, sure. There are stronger films in Ghibli's, like, library.
If people are asking, what Ghibli movies would you recommend watching? There's a whole list, and this one's definitely on the list.
It's on the list, and it's up pretty high on the list.
Oh, yeah.
For the uninitiated to Studio Ghibli films, I would not suggest KiKi's.
No.
You'd start them off with something a little harder.
Yeah, Tales from Earthsea, right out the gate.
Jesus. No. We're gonna
that kind of hard.
drop Grave of the Fireflies on your first Ghibli film.
Oh, even better. Even better, yeah.
Just get it out of your system right away.
No, I would do something that with a film that's a little stronger. So like Howls or Nausicaa or Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away. Stories that feel a little more rounded and complete, where KiKi's feels like the story plays out but doesn't have a good beginning, middle, end. Like, I feel like KiKi's was the beginning of a story that they never got around to extending. Like, her, it feels like Kiki, like this movie could have been like a pilot,
KiKi's origin story,
like a pilot for a KiKi's TV show, and they never made the TV show.
Yeah, it almost does feel more like a TV show, where like the idea of the TV show is she goes around and does deliveries. She delivers to a birthday party. She delivers to a second birthday party. She delivers to an old lady who wants them to deliver to a birthday party. A lot of birthdays going on here.
That's the only thing I would say as a negative point. It still makes me so mad. So mad how much that little girl didn't care about that fish bake.
Oh my god.
And for a second, I thought maybe Kiki was so angry at Tombo because he was friends with the girl who doesn't like that fish bake.
Mm-hmm.
So snoodily, even. I mean, herring pie doesn't sound appetizing.
It doesn't, but the amount of work that they went through to make that.
Which is where I say, yeah, have kids watch this so they can have an understanding of like how much effort goes into things, and you can show a little bit of appreciation, even if you don't necessarily care for the thing. Understand the work that goes in behind it. It's good life lessons.
I tell people if they need like something cozy to huddle up with and just chill out.
Oh yeah, this is definitely like a good rainy afternoon.
This would be good
to
for
watch.
that.
Got nowhere to go and nothing else to do.
Mm-hmm.
Want to watch a movie? Watch KiKi's.
And then I guess the last question then is: does it still hold up from the first time you watched it?
I don't think this movie will ever change.
So as I said, I first watched this movie at the end of last year, and then right before we were talking about movies to watch, I was like, man, I'd really like to watch KiKi's again. And then you said, hey, let's watch KiKi's. And I said, oh, hell yeah, we're in. So obviously 3 months is enough for it to hold up for me. Yes.
For me, when I was younger, I considered this kind of more passable in that it was good to watch for the technicalities, the animation of it, to really just enjoy that aspect of animated filmmaking. And then the other stuff, I was in my young 20s at most, so I was looking for other styles at the time, so I really wasn't looking for this cottagey, cozy style storytelling. I'd say now I'm more amenable to it for sure.
Huh. So it's done the opposite. It went from being to, oh, this is neat. Yeah.
I'd say that. So that was us slamming our dirigible into the old buildings of downtown and making that one old lady giddy as hell by watching KiKi's Delivery Service. If you like what we're doing, subscribe. Encourage other people to subscribe and then come back again. We're doing this once a month now as opposed to every 2 weeks. We're hobbyists. This is just fun and games for now. Yeah, no one's paying us to do this.
Wait, are you getting
But
paid?
you can come
I'm not
back.
getting paid.
No, I'm not going to. We're putting up money to post these things.
Right.
So come back next time where we'll get in some mechs and beat the crap out of each other by watching the movie Robot Jocks. So come back next time when we rewind again.
Robot Jocks?
Now this is where we do the thumbs up and like punch each other's fists.
Yeah!
What about Joebot rocks? Like Joe's a robot. He rocks because he's so cool.
Yes. Wait, what?
That sounds like something that would have been like in the 80s as a knockoff product. These are Joebots.
I thought we were doing robot underwear. What's going on here?
Robotic underwear? Oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh,
Robot
no.
Jocks.
Oh God.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
The amount of lawsuits. I can only imagine.